everyone, good morning. How are you today? I hope you are always in the good condition and also always happy. Okay, in the very nice occasion, I'm Nila Rusmayanti would like to present a topic which is about corona vaccine. But before I explain in more detail, I will give a little overview related to this topic, so that you don't get confused and wonder why we should know about this vaccine. Or if anyone already knows about this vaccine but is still afraid to get vaccinated, here I will provide information about vaccine. Okay, let me start with why this corona vaccine can be in Indonesia. Yes, because of the coronavirus that is spreading in Indonesia, and it is not certain how long it will continue to spread. From 2019 until now in 2021, the corona is still spreading and the number of people exposed to the virus is increasing. Therefore, the Indonesian government and even the whole world are trying to get drugs to prevent this virus. It will take a long time for this corona vaccine to be circulated to the general public. Until 2021, this vaccine can be used for the community. You know, what types of vaccines are currently being used in Indonesia? Yes, there are two types, namely Sinovac vaccines and AstraZeneca vaccines. So, what are the difference between these two vaccines? Okay, I don't answer directly because this is the main topic that I will discuss at this time. So, if you are curious about this, you must pay close attention to my explanation, because next I will explain in more detail about this corona vaccine and also the difference between the two vaccines. As you can see on the slide, my objectives in this presentation, the first one, audience can find out information about the corona vaccine. The second one is audience can tell the difference between Sinovac vaccine and AstraZeneca vaccine. And the last is to convince the audience that vaccinating is very important during the corona pandemic. There are several points that I will explain. The first one is the definition of vaccine. The second one is the definition of Sinovac vaccine, and the third one is the definition of AstraZeneca vaccine, and the last is the comparison and contrast between Sinovac vaccine and AstraZeneca vaccine. Okay, now I will start with the definition of vaccine. Can anyone tell me what is vaccine? Yes. Vaccine is an antigenic substance that is used to produce immunity against a disease. Vaccination is done to prevent or reduce the effects of infection that cause certain disease. Vaccines can create immunity to protect you from infection without causing harmful side effects. There are two types of vaccines currently being used in Indonesia, namely Sinovac and AstraZeneca vaccines. Okay, I will start with Sinovac vaccine. The Sinovac vaccine is an inactivated vaccine. In short, an inactivated vaccine is a vaccine that uses an attenuated or inactivated version of the virus to induce an immune response. The injection of the Sinovac vaccine will trigger the immune system to recognize this inactivated virus and produce antibodies to fight it, so that COVID-19 infection does not occur. Next, about AstraZeneca vaccine. The AstraZeneca vaccine is a vaccine to prevent COVID-19 disease. This vaccine is the result of a collaboration between the University of Oxford and AstraZeneca, which was developed in February 2020. The AstraZeneca vaccine is derived from a genetically modified virus. This vaccine works by stimulating and triggering the body to form antibodies. From the explanation above, do any of you know about the difference between Sinovac vaccine and AstraZeneca vaccines? Okay, if not, I will explain about the difference. On the slide, you can see that there are three differences found. The first one is vaccine technology. The second is vaccine side effects. And the last is the age of the vaccine recipient. The first one is in vaccine technology. Sinovac's corona vaccine uses an inactivated virus or a whole virus that has been killed. According to the World Health Organization, this method has proven to be effective and has been used in the development of other vaccines, such as flu and polio. In contrast, the AstraZeneca vaccine does not contain the inactivated coronavirus. However, this vaccine uses a chimpanzee adenovirus vector. That is, the developers of the AstraZeneca vaccine took a virus that commonly infects chimpanzees, then genetically modified to trigger an immune response. Next, about the side effect of both vaccination. In general, these two vaccines cause almost the same side effects, namely pain, redness, or swelling at the injection site, fever, feeling tired, muscle pain, headache, nausea, and vomiting. However, with the AstraZeneca vaccine, there is a risk of blood clotting problems, especially in young vaccine recipients. The last is the age of vaccine recipients. Initially, this vaccine was only intended for age 18 until 59 years old. However, after further evaluation of its safety and effectiveness, Sinovac vaccine can also be used for people aged 60 years old and over with an injection ring of 28 days between the first and second stage, while the AstraZeneca vaccine can be used at the age of 18 years old and over. Based on further evaluation, the recommended injection range is longer than Sinovac vaccine, which is 8 until 12 weeks between the first and second stage. Okay everyone, so far, do you understand the difference between Sinovac vaccine and AstraZeneca vaccine? Okay, if you have understood and also the material I explained is finished, now is the time for me to conclude the overall material. But before that, if you are still confused about this topic, you can ask me in the comments or send your question to my email nilarusmayanti@gmail.com. Okay, for the conclusion, I can convey is that the Sinovac and AstraZeneca vaccines are both highly recommended to prevent the coronavirus at this time. The Sinovac vaccine, which was released for the first time in Indonesia, causes common side effects. In contrast, the AstraZeneca vaccine can cause blood clothes in young recipients. Even so, because both have been clinically tested, you don't need to be afraid of the side effects. If you read the news or see information about this vaccine that is distorted, don't worry. Don't listen to the news spread on social media about the effects of vaccines causing death. Not all the news is true. Maybe only in 1,000 of people who experience this because of the person's condition that is not good enough to cause death. But so far, the vaccine is still running and all is well. So don't be afraid to vaccinate because vaccines are very important to prevent us from getting this coronavirus. Remember that prevention is better than cure. If you want to be healthy, let's make a change. Don't let your fear control yourself. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the material for me. I hope all of you can understand the material that I present, and also this material is useful for you. Sorry if there is a wrong word. And finally, I say thank you and see you everyone.